Hey guys, how are you all doing today? I hope you guys are having an amazing day. Today, I'm going to be teaching you guys how to drive a manual transmission in under 2 days. That's right, guys. I guarantee if you apply all these tips that I'm going to show you in this video, be sure to stay to the very end. You guys will have no issue driving manual perfectly in under 2 days. So let's get right into it. Alright guys, so first things first, I'm actually in my slippers right now, but reason being they are very soft bottom, so it's easy to feel the pedals. You don't want to learn with too thick of a shoe or a boot because it's hard to gauge where the pedal is, right, in the engagement points. So that brings me into my first point, being learning your clutch engagement point. I'm personally in a 2004 E46. I wouldn't recommend learning on a car like this just because it's a little more harder to learn. It's more up at the top and more touchy of a clutch compared to like a Civic or a Miata or cars like that. I personally learned on a Honda, and I would recommend that for anybody trying to learn. Alright, so let's go over the basics real quick. Starting the car, clutch in, let it do its thing for a sec, start it up, make sure it's in neutral when you let the clutch out. Now you can let it out once it's started. Because if you start it, I know for people who know how to drive manual, it seems pretty self-explanatory, but this is for new people. So you never want to let the clutch out in first gear when you start it up, because it will lurch forward on you and you'll just completely stall. Second part being, you want to learn your shifting pattern. First, second, third, fourth, and fifth. And if you have a sixth gear, it'll be straight back. And this is where it varies. In most European cars, reverse is all the way over, hit the wall, and up. But in North American cars, a lot of the time it's to the right and all the way down. Alright guys, so first things first, basically getting going is the hardest part. Basically once you have that down, it'll be butter. So I'm going to focus kind of on this video on getting going. So first things first, clutch in, first gear. And slowly let the clutch out and give it gas. I'm ready for second gear. Clutch in all the way. Second gear, slowly let out. Back on gas. Now I know what I said there was a lot to comprehend, especially if it's your first time driving manual, so I'm going to go ahead and go over it again. And then I'm going to give you this very special tip, probably the best tip anyone can tell you that will push you past that point to make you very decent at driving manual. So basically the number one tip I can give you guys when getting going like this, even just inching forward, keeping your heel planted on, like say this is the floor, keeping your heel planted like this, so you can, it's much more accurate. You can let it out way more smoother than say your whole leg. You have to go like this, right? Like I'll do it again. Very smooth, as you can see. Yeah, the tip I just gave you, keeping your heel planted on the floor when you're letting out the clutch, is the number one tip anyone can ever give you. I see a lot of people sleep on it. Barely anyone's talking about it, so I thought I'd give you guys it. Help you out a lot. I know, like, second day roughly, I learned to do that myself. I was just playing around with the clutch and stuff. I'm like, maybe I can get more control over the clutch if I have my foot on the floor. It made sense, and I let it out some more slower. So yeah, definitely try that. You'll see huge differences within a couple tries. Trust me, guys. Alright guys, so this is also going to be a very important one that you've definitely heard it, but practice, practice, practice. Don't get upset at yourself and call yourself names and stuff if you aren't getting it the first day and a half, even 2 days. It's going to take a lot of practice. It's different for everyone. That brings me into my next tip, which is going to be practicing in a parking lot and not going right to the street. If that puts too much stress on you and you're going to overthink it, let out the clutch too fast, and you're going to stall at every stoplight you go to. So please just be sure to practice in a parking lot first. Empty parking lot after hours or something, you can always find one. It's not that hard. Do a little pull for the boys here, little sidetrack. Alright, so that brings me on to my next point, which is going to be just getting familiar with the streets once you're comfortable in a parking lot and have it down, like stopping and going. Basically, I'm coming up to a stop sign here. Stopping super easy. Clutch in, doesn't matter what gear you're in. Put it in neutral. as you're coming to a stop, you can just let the clutch out. I mean, some people just leave the clutch in so they don't have to do this and put it back in first and start going again. But over time, that will actually put a lot of wear on your clutch, because the only time your clutch is not engaged is when it's fully up and your foot's completely off it. You never want to keep your clutch in for too long, only when you absolutely need to, when you're shifting gears and coming to a stop, just enough to put it in neutral like this. Put it in neutral, I don't even need the clutch in anymore, and I can just brake normally. Also, you never want to, if you're on a hill and you're doing hill starts, that will be another video, but just touch on it a little bit here. You never want to, people a lot of the time they'll use their clutch, like they'll variate the throttle and the clutch, keep doing this. That's so bad for it, just to hold them up on the hill. Basically, when you're first starting out, you want to avoid all hills possible if you're going to be starting on it, because you're going to roll back for sure. And I'll just give you a little quick tip here. My handbrake currently doesn't work. I need new backing plates. But what I do, or what I learned to do, is just basically keep it neutral and use your handbrake to hold you. And then once the light turns green, you're ready to go. Start going. You'll feel the car tug a little bit, and just release the handbrake and drive away. You'll have no issue doing that. All right, so now that that's out of the way, the beginning stuff, getting familiar with your car, getting going, stopping, stuff like that. The next thing is going to be shifting. But yeah, just like getting going, it's very simple. Get up to speed. People always ask, what RPM do I shift at? How do I know when to shift? Basically, you don't even need, your tach will tell you, but you don't even need to look at the tach. You can literally just listen to the engine. Once it starts getting high, next gear. Then you go to next gear. You know what I mean? You get the basic concept. Up to a hill here, you'll notice you won't have as much power. You'll want to downshift. And that was actually perfect. That was a nice rev match. You want to go to a lower gear so you'll have more available torque to get up the hill. And I'll do it again here. As you can see, the RPM's raised. Now I'm at about 2,800. Now, you don't want to do this all the time. Well, you can. It doesn't matter. But number one thing, you do want to make sure you're doing it properly. Because if you're not doing it properly, you're just dropping it and fucking slamming in the gear, your clutch is going to be dead in a week. So you want to make sure you're doing it properly. It's basically, whenever you're ready, say there's another kill and a stop sign coming here. Say I want to downshift in a second. Clutch in, neutral, flip the throttle, second, let the clutch out very slowly. And as you can see, the car slowed down itself. I didn't even touch the brake at all. That's also another thing downshifting is good for. It saves your brakes, so that's why manual cars brakes will actually last a lot longer if you're doing engine braking, which is basically just downshifting. Now I'm going to do it in full time like I would just normally driving. And I got all that available torque, just like that.